Hey Vegas, you know what I want to talk about?
What should we talk about?
Freedom and Star Wars.
All right. So, as of filming this, it is July 4th, the 4th of July, for those American listeners who are familiar, Independence Day. Cam, how do you feel about being an American?
I'm digging it, dude. Red, white, and blue.
So, coming off of a camping trip at a local campground.
It's not too local. It was a bit of a drive.
It's about half an hour. But, so, I don't know how to say it without it sounding rude, but it's a trashier campground. Again, I don't know how to say that without it sounding mean, but I remember the last time I went, I saw 3 Confederate flags. Keep in mind, we live in a northern state.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it very strange. I saw 3 Confederate flags, I think, 2 Don't Tread on Me flags, and literally like 50 million American flags. But especially this weekend, since it's 4th of July week, I saw 1 Don't Tread on Me flag and a bajillion American flag related bathing suits, t-shirts, anything you could possibly imagine had an American flag on it. Nothing too crazy happened this time, but I have some interesting stuff that happened. Real quick, Cam, you want to talk about our filming environment for today and possibly the future?
Well, we've taken a break from my car as we don't want to burn alive.
Yes.
Or have some person doing drugs come and like stab us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in my basement right now. Freshly cleaned, so Vegas isn't find all the bodies. Have you spotted them yet?
I think I see a hand poking out a little bit.
Oof, yeah, I figured you'd see that one.
But
yeah.
So I arrived there Monday morning or Monday afternoon, early afternoon, and we had some neighbors who were right across from us. We were in a camper, so were they. And they had a bulldog, a very, very big bulldog. And they said, don't pet this bulldog. It will bite you. It's not a friendly dog. And I was like, why bother bringing a violent, or not violent, well, that dog specifically, to the campground?
They said this to you specifically?
Yes. And to the other people that was at the campsite. They said, don't pet this dog. And that was the one and only time that I saw those people until I left. So I saw them when I got there, didn't see them again, and then when I left today, the Wednesday, I saw them again. But I have some interesting things that happened. So there's a lake that's maybe 5 minutes from my campsite, and usually most people go to the lake, swim. That's typically what you do in a lake. And some interesting things that I saw there. So they had a dock, so it started from about where you could walk into the water till about maybe 4.5 feet, and people obviously jump off it as you typically do. And there was this kid with a lollipop, like a normal like circular lollipop with like different flavors.
Like a swirl?
Yeah, a swirl,
like
exactly. And he was just like looking at like big long looks, like from a cartoon. And it was me, my dad, and his girlfriend. We were looking at him, and we're like, is he gonna jump in with a lollipop? Because he was like, he walked to the edge of the dock as if he were to jump in, and then walked back. And he was still licking it, and then he like went to the edge of it to where it was shallow, and ran and jumped in and held his arm up as if to like keep his lollipop above water. But everything, including the lollipop, went underwater. But he immediately poked it back up and started eating it. And we saw this kid just enjoying that lollipop. He was jumping in the water with a lollipop, going underwater with a lollipop, and still eating it.
That's a trooper right there.
Yes. And the second day we went back to the lake, we went to the far, I guess, west side of it. And there, the water was a bit more disgusting. I found 2 cigarette butts and a Band-Aid in the water.
Oh.
That disgusted me, and it ruined my day. So that was pretty interesting. And then today, well, for all the days that I was at the beach or the lake, there were people smoking on the shore and drinking beer. And I was like, it's a beach or a lake. Like, where are you gonna throw your cigarette butts in the sand? And I saw.
I'm just gonna put them where I put my Band-Aids.
Yeah, just flick them in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not my problem. It's the lake's problem now. But the amount of people I saw with their phones in the water, I probably saw maybe half a dozen, maybe 10 people with their phones, like either on a float, like pretty far in, or like taking pictures.
It's just dangerous.
Who does that? And then I saw this one lady, right when I was about to leave, who had a book, who was like in the middle of the water with just a rat, like a little float, like a donut shaped float. And
just reading. Oh.
Like, she was just like chilling, and I wanted to be rude and like kick water. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, those are my stories. I don't have anything too crazy that happened, but I thought I would share those with Cam and the podcast.
Did you end up climbing that tree?
No. So I tried finding a tree to climb. I unfortunately was not successful in doing so.
See, from my perspective, Vegas just sent me a text saying, "Hey Cam, should I climb a tree?" I thought he already had the tree picked out. I don't know. I didn't know if he was actually looking for advice on whether or not he should go and find a tree. But I guess he still needed a tree to find.
Yeah. And then like 20 minutes later, I was like, I didn't find a tree. And I looked hard. Couldn't find one.
I feel like there are trees everywhere.
Yeah, but they weren't worthy enough to climb.
Oh, okay.
Like I would pull the branch down and it would take some force, but it would just snap and then I would fall and I'm like, yep, that's why I didn't climb it. So yeah, that was my my campground stories. Maybe I'll have some next year because I'll probably go next year. But you know, Cam, it's the 4th of July season.
It is.
For America, it's a very big deal. Independence Day. Do you have any good 4th of July or summer related stories? Mainly 4th of July related.
I have one decent story. Usually my family throws we have like a barbecue like party type thing outside late at night.
As you do.
Yep. And then, where we live, you can't buy fireworks.
In our state, it's illegal.
Our state. But there's nothing stopping you from going to the state right next door.
Which is maybe 40 minutes from where we are.
Buying some fireworks and coming back.
Which is very illegal. That's transporting explosives over state borders.
It's not like we do that a lot. So let's say, alright, so this story is based on the hypothetical that we did.
This didn't actually happen.
Sure. So... So we got the fireworks. It's getting pretty late. They're pretty good fireworks too. They're obviously not the ones that you see at shows and stuff, but they're pretty high end fireworks. So there are these ones that you light, and then they start spinning.
Oh, yep.
And then just pop kinda, and it's makes a really loud noise. And we would play this game where we would light it and then hold it in our hands to see who would have it the longest, and then who would throw it, right? Like a game of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad.
I don't know where this is going, but I'm scared.
So we have neighbors, right? We have neighbors in our next yard who may or may not. This is gonna make me sound like we live in oh boy. They grow weed outdoors. The outdoors, out in the open, you can see it.
Do they still do so to this day?
I haven't checked. I don't want to. So my dad threw one, and it went over the fence into their yard, right into their ganja spot, and it just went up and it popped there.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that loud noise, by the way.
Yeah, that loud noise was the popping of the fireworks in my story.
Yes.
So
definitely not me moving the microphone.
Yeah, definitely not. So yeah, that happened. We might have started a drug war. We're not sure. It wasn't that much of a story. I wish I had a better ending, but it's just my dad threw fireworks at a drug dealer.
So growing up in my childhood home, every year my dad and his friend would drive, or again, this is a hypothetical. This didn't actually happen. I'm just making up the story.
Yeah.
But in this fantasy land, my dad and his friend would drive a couple states up, not even just one down. They would go all the way up to like where the good fireworks were.
Ooh.
And they would spend maybe $2,000 on fireworks. And they would come back with like they would fill the whole trunk, all the back seats with fireworks.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. And
A hypothetical trunk.
yes. Keep in mind, very illegal.
Yeah.
Very illegal. And we lived at the time, in a pretty populated place. We lived right on a major, I don't know what the heck it's called, but a major road was like literally right next to us. And there was a car dealership like right around us.
Uh-oh.
But every year, like, we would launch fireworks, stuff like that. Like, my dad had like a little radio, so if the cops got called on us, we would know right away, and we would shut it down. Everybody would hide, and they would knock on the door, and my dad would be like,
He had a cop radio? What?
like, you know, like one of the scanners.
Oh.
Like, you can probably get it for your phone now, too. It's illegal. This is legal, this part. It's, like, one way. Like, you can't talk to them, but you can hear what they're talking about if, like, you get the right frequency. But, like, and whenever, like, somebody would sit on it, and when they would be like, oh, 123 Appleby Street, they're letting off fireworks.
You just gave away your address.
Oh, snap. But whenever we would do, like, someone would hear the call, we'd be like, okay, we gotta put everything away, everybody hide inside, and when they would knock on the door, my dad would answer, and he'd be like, there's no fireworks here, officer. But one year, it was just crazy. Like, fireworks everywhere. I thought, as like an 8-year-old boy, I was gonna go to jail, because we were just letting off fireworks until like 4 a.m, until finally we got the call. Now keep in mind, our neighbors a couple doors down, was a very old lady who was very nice, but also very rude.
Oh.
I'm not going to give her name away, but her name, I know, I was going to do it just to be funny, but I'm not going to. But she's usually always very nice to us, but tonight she came over and told us, she was like, listen, you guys need to stop. My dad was like, I'm sorry, we will stop. However, my dad insisted that we continue. And then she came over again and was yelling very loudly and swearing. This very old lady who is still alive and driving. Because I see her a lot and I'm like, how is she still alive and driving? But then eventually she's called the cops and we had to like throw the fireworks in the backyard where they wouldn't see them because we launched them from the front yard, which was always really funny the next morning, seeing just the whole yard covered in fireworks. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of a couple stories, but yeah, every year fireworks in this hypothetical party land.
I think I have another story.
I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
See, I feel like they're all kind of lackluster because they get somewhere cool but don't finish well, almost like a bad firework show. So like, one year we went to my cousin's house, and they have like a big backyard, right? Real big backyard. Uncle bought a bunch of fireworks, and they like set them all up.
Hypothetically, of course.
Yeah, obviously. They set them up at a hypothetical table way back in the yard, in the hypothetical yard.
I think hypotheticals just mean like, I think you just have to say like, I don't know why I interrupted you. I'll let you continue.
We also could just lie and be like, yeah, we live in a state where it's legal. If there's any law enforcement watching this.
Okay.
Come and track the IP address to where we're filming.
As we're saying that, like a SWAT team just comes in through the window.
Okay.
So
they had like a wooden table. Keep in mind wooden.
Oh boy, I know where this is going already.
And like, they just start like setting them off like crazy, right? It's like one after another, right? This is almost like a fireworks show level. Like, it's nice. Like, so I'm on a trampoline way back. This really doesn't play that much into it, I don't think.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I thought you somehow you're gonna be like, yep, and then I got attacked by a firework. but
I feel like there's definitely, I feel like shrapnel falling on the trampoline, probably little like paper pieces or something. So like yeah, and then like all going off like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, oh, it's really bright down there where they're setting them off. And I was like, oh, the table's just like on fire. And it was like the table's on fire, and oh, like the yard's kind of, that whole area is just kind of on fire. What are they gonna do? And they're like in the fire, like people.
What?
And I was like, oh my god. And then I guess they put it out. I don't know. They're all still alive, hypothetically.
How did they put the fire out?
I was like 8. I don't really remember. They probably just with a fire extinguisher or some water. Or I'm just over exaggerating because I was a kid when it happened and I've just made it all up.
That's pretty crazy. Do you have any more 4th of July stories or firework related stories?
I mean, kind of with fireworks when we like at prom when we like rated them. That was pretty funny.
Yes, we had at our prom, or senior prom. We were very fortunate enough to have fireworks, and Cam and I, we would, as the fireworks were coming up, we would make a prediction on what the firework would be on a scale of 1 to 10. And we got a lot of people involved in it. Probably like 6 or 7 people were all rating fireworks with us.
I thought we were coming off as annoying until the people behind us started going like, "Oh yeah, they're kind of good with that call," and they started doing it too.
Where people would be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, because we were screaming.
Yeah, we were screaming.
We were yelling, and then like I was like, "Oh, people are gonna hate us." They didn't. I also feel like we were on the same page a lot with the fireworks. Like we got pretty similar.
This isn't much of a story, but do you want to share the part when my girlfriend came out? Because I remember you told me this and I found it to be very funny.
Yeah, for a lot of it, it was Vegas yelling the fireworks, and then I joined in. At this point, his girlfriend was not there.
Yes.
She was like inside, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, she comes back, and is like, you guys are like close, obviously, and they're like talking like face to face and like having a conversation, like being like quiet kind of, and then like he would turn and then just yell the rating of the firework and then like turn back
in the middle of a conversation.
I was like dying laughing. I was like, that looks hilarious.
Like I don't really remember that, but I can like imagine it from your perspective where you're just like looking, it's like, oh my god, and just like turn back to her.
Yeah.
But do you think that's it for 4th of July firework talk? I don't know if you have anything else. If you do, go right ahead.
I think I'm out.
All right. Well, let's transition into the second topic of the day.
Something also very American.
It's very starstruck.
No.
Something that'll.
Tried.
We're talking about Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Cam recently saw Solo.
I saw Solo, a Star Wars story.
Wait, real quick. Spoiler alert, this movie's about a month old, so we expect anybody who's listening to this who does care, there will be spoilers. So keep that in mind. Carry on, Cam.
I was not expecting to like this film. You know? I didn't like...
Now,
okay.
Were you not expecting like the film based off what you saw or just how you were feeling? Like, what influenced you to feel that way?
I think it was a number of things. I wasn't really interested in seeing a movie about Han Solo. I didn't really think it's necessary. I still don't kind of think it was necessary. And also, the last couple of Star Wars movies have kind of burned me out on Star Wars. I think we could probably get into that a little bit after my review of Solo.
Okay.
But, yeah. You okay, Vegas?
I'm just trying to comprehend the fact that you just said the past couple Star Wars films haven't been that good.
The past 2 Star Wars movies have kind of turned me off from Star Wars a little bit.
We'll save that for a bit. What did you like and dislike about Solo? Keep in mind, I've not seen Solo, and I do not intend on seeing it, despite the fact that I love Star Wars. But what about it did you both love and hate?
I'll go over things that I liked. I don't know if I loved anything.
Or just, liked or disliked.
I liked that guy's portrayal of Han Solo. I think he did a fantastic job. Alden Ehrenreich. I think he was great. I wasn't expecting him to be that good. I thought he was fantastic. I think he somehow nailed what Han Solo should be and was still able to put his own kind of spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the performances were pretty solid in this film. I'll get to one that I did not like.
They had the girl from Game of Thrones, correct?
Yep. She's great in it. Woody
Harrelson.
He's
Oh.
good in it. Yep.
That's the only Woody I know besides from Toy Story.
Yep. Childish Gambino, what's his name?
Danny Glover.
Donald Glover.
I don't know. I'm really bad with names.
Childish Gambino was great in it. He like rapped and stuff. It was really good.
Wait, did he actually?
No.
I feel really stupid for asking that out. Like
Lando rapping.
That's kind of sad that I had to ask that question though, because if you would have said yes, I wouldn't have questioned you at all. I'd have been like, cool, or not cool.
So yeah, solid performances. I think.
Who do you think had the strongest performance in that movie?
Honestly, I gotta say it was the guy who played Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich. He made that movie. I enjoyed it because of him.
So are those all the things you liked about the movie, or are you still going?
It had cool action, right? There's a cool whole sequence that involves like a train heist. That was something I've never seen before in Star Wars. I thought that was pretty cool.
How was the soundtrack?
I was gonna get to that, Vegas. See, I've realized the effect Star Wars has on me when anything can be happening and they just blast Star Wars music and I get emotional. Like that music like has an effect on me. Like I
feel
swell up.
The Binary Sunset outro, like the da 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 da. Like that gets me right in the feels.
Yeah, like there's a sequence where like they're like trying to escape on the Millennium Falcon, which they call it a lot in this movie. It's kind of weird.
Didn't they? This is kind of a bit unrelated, or I believe you're the one who told me this. But they gave him his last name Solo because he didn't have a last name.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
I feel like that was pointless. There's no need for that whatsoever.
He was like all sad because he like missed his girlfriend, and he was like talking to like a train dude to get the ticket, and he was like, "What's your family name?" And he's like, I'm alone. I don't have one." He's like, "Solo it is." I also feel like with this movie, they really tried to push like calling him Solo. Before this, I had never called Han Solo Solo before.
I don't think anybody did.
Like if before this movie was announced or whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, my favorite character from Star Wars is I love that Solo guy," I would have like hit you. I would have slapped you. Like who? It's weird. It's a weird name. Like it should be like Han.
What did you think about the cinematography?
It was I think it was above. I think it was on par with Last Jedi because Last Jedi had amazing cinematography, and there's like a whole like sequence towards like the end. It was like is around the same part with the Falcon escape, where everything just like becomes like something about like the tone and everything shifts, and you can like tell from like it just looks amazing. It's an amazing looking film.
Now, what did you dislike about it?
There's one character, the quirky robot they tried to incorporate in every film.
There's one in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And it's terrible.
Oh.
Every single line that comes out of this robot, it's like they try to. I'm not going to get political. I'm really not.
Do it.
I don't want to.
Or don't do it.
They try and play up that this robot is like a feminist type robot character, but like a robotist.
Oh, okay.
And it would have been fine, I think, if they'd made it subtle. But everything that comes out of this robot's mouth it's just constant. It gets annoying because it takes you out of the movie, I think. I don't know. I found the robot to be annoying. Robot dies, which is pretty good. And it's actually a sad moment because Lando loves the robot. And I was getting sad because Lando was sad, but I was also happy at the same time because the robot was dead.
So I want to talk about something that we talked about. The Darth Maul scene.
All right. It's the ending of the film. The ending of the film's trash. It's just terrible.
Because you said that they kind of set it up for Solo too.
I don't know necessarily for a Solo 2. I think they're setting up a Darth Maul film. Because the way the movie ends, they tease Darth Maul as being like the big bad the whole time. And right when you think the conflict has been resolved, a character just like decides to go, like, oh, I've worked for Darth Maul the whole time. And he's like, come to my planet. And he like ignites the double lightsabers, and you're supposed to be like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, oh, this is really dumb. Like, this is stupid. I just don't like that they're trying to like make all these movies with that.
The thing with Darth Maul, like, I've been a fan of Darth Maul. He just looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I feel like everybody... I feel like the people still really like Darth Maul, but first of all, he lost to an apprentice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the higher ground.
Yeah.
Come on.
He also doesn't do anything in Phantom Menace.
Because I feel like they weren't expecting him to do much. He wasn't supposed to be the main villain. It was supposed to be Darth Sidious. Kind of.
Yeah, but he's the big bad at the end. Like, he's the fight. And he just shows up, kills one dude, then just dies. Or he doesn't die, but he gets chopped in half.
I don't know. I feel like the Phantom Menace is the most useless out of every Star Wars movie.
I hate that movie. I hate that movie.
Or the original 6. Or I guess 8 now.
Even when I was a kid, I didn't like Phantom Menace.
I liked Phantom Menace because Darth Maul. But outside of that, I can't remember much. Or there's the pod racing. What else was
now
in
this is pod racing.
Jar Jar Binks.
Ew.
Qui-Gon Jinn. A.K.A. Liam Neeson. I almost said Nelson.
Liam Nelson.
But, do you want to go through all the Star Wars movies and give, like, a review of them? We kind of did Phantom Menace already. What would you give Phantom Menace out of 10?
I mean, I'd give all the prequels a 0 out of 10. I don't like those films. I hate them. I hate that they exist. It bugs me.
What would you give Phantom Menace?
I'll give Phantom Menace a 0.5 out of 10.
Oh, come on.
There's nothing good in that movie. I'm sorry.
There's nothing at all.
I don't like
the set design.
No, it's just all green screen.
I give it a 4.3.
Okay. Why? What do you like about it, Mr. Prequel Defender?
I like the politics, which I know most people are gonna hate, but Star Wars is a very political movie. It's like Star Trek is a very philosophical franchise, while Star Wars is a very political, war-driven series, or universe is what I should say. Phantom Menace. What do you think of Phantom Menace?
We just did Phantom
I'm
Menace.
sorry. Clone Wars.
Attack of the Clones. We can talk about the Clone Wars. I like the Clone Wars.
The show, this is not helping. This is making it seem like I know nothing about Star Wars. But Attack of the Clones, there we go.
Attack of the Clones I like more. I mean, I like it more than Phantom Menace. I still don't like it.
I'm going to leave right now. What do you like about it more than Phantom Menace? And you can't say Jar Jar Binks.
I remember Phantom Menace, it's just like all in a desert the whole time. And I'm just like, this is boring. Even as a kid, I was like, this is boring. At least in episode 2, like, there's that cool Jedi, like, cool and... I'm not really cool, but...
The Jedi Arena?
Yeah. And, like, Sam Jackson cuts Boba Fett's dad's head off.
Jango Fett? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That whole fight... Was that episode 2 where Obi-Wan goes to that, like, water planet and, like, fights Jango Fett? It has to be, right? Because he kills him. Yeah, I thought that fight was pretty cool.
I don't like I don't even remember anything from Attack of the Clones, which really says a lot. Besides Obi-Wan and Jango, and then them in the arena, or in Order 66.
Wait, isn't that episode 3?
Yes, I'm so stupid.
Can I just mention one more thing that I just thought of?
Yeah, go.
I like the part where Anakin slaughters all those
younglings.
Yeah, the women and the children. Because even as a kid, I was like, when he's like, the women and the children too, I was like, This guy's just whining. He's an idiot. It was cool when they played the Darth Vader theme, though. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I would give Attack of the Clones a 3 out of 10.
I'd give it a 1 out of 10, even though I like it more than you. I don't like those movies.
Revenge of the Sith.
I would say is the best of the prequels.
I would agree.
But being the best pile of trash
my God.
Still means you're a pile of trash.
Listen, I love it. I love Revenge of the Sith. What? I would put it in my top 3 favorite Star Wars. I would put it in my top 3.
You shouldn't.
Just like Hayden Christensen, or I don't even know how to say his name.
You said it right.
I said it right?
Yeah.
His portrayal of Anakin is just
so paper.
I don't want to talk about his dialogue because that's not that well-y orchestrated, but that's not his fault. He was given the script that he has to follow. But just like his face, like he has like that menacing face. Like he looks like a villain. Like, do you know what I mean, or no? Like he just looks like a good villain. Like when they're on Mustafar, when he's fighting or when he's dealing with Anakin, or not Anakin, he is Anakin. When he's dealing with Obi-Wan and he has like his eyes are like orange and red now because like he's truly evil and like he has like the scar in his hair and he just like he looks evil.
I thought he looked kind of silly. I thought he had like way too much hair and the eyes were just like overdoing it. I was like, what's up with the eyes, dude? Come on.
Just that movie's really good.
No, I don't think.
What would you give it out of 10?
2 out of 10.
What? I would give it an 8.7 or no, an 8.5.
Yeah, but you don't watch movies. You don't know what have you ever seen like a really good movie?
I'm rating it as a Star Wars film, not like a film.
A Star Wars film is still a film.
Like a normal, like just but I feel it's a bit different because like Rogue One is maybe not the best Star Wars movie, but if it was released as something else, it would be a really good movie.
I don't even know if I agree with you on
that.
I didn't like Rogue One.
That was a bad example.
I feel like what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Like, is it like a movie just, like, not a Star Wars fan? I would give it, like, a 7 out of 10, like, based off just all other cinema.
That fight at the end was almost cool. They flipped around too much.
Do you want to go to Rogue One, or do you want to go to New Hope?
I say let's go to New Hope, because there's something stewing here for New Hope. I love New Hope. I love that film. Obviously, it's the first one. It was the fourth one or whatever, but it's the first Star Wars movie to be made and come out. And it means a lot to me. It's a great film. I feel like most people have seen it. They know like that's the tale of Star Wars. It's classic film. I don't get how you couldn't like it.
I hate A New Hope. That movie is not held up to time.
Okay.
I enjoyed it as a kid, but I watched it recently, and it was a chore getting through that movie. I will say it's better than Episode 1 and Episode 2, and I can go as far to respect it as for starting what Star Wars has become. But, oh my god. Compared to all the other Star Wars movies, again, excluding Episode 1 and 2, I don't like it. I don't like it. You know a movie is bad when you constantly have to remake it, fixing the issues that you made when you originally made the movie. All the things that are wrong with A New Hope. I mean, given they weren't really expecting Star Wars to become what it was when A New Hope came out, they were just like, we're just gonna, whatever, like, it's not gonna, like, they were in debt when the movie came out. Like, they barely made it by making that movie, which I feel like the story behind A New Hope is really good. Like, not the movie story, but them making it. Like them making the movie.
I feel like the movie story is pretty good too. It's almost like it came out and became a success because people liked it.
I don't know. I would. What would you give A New Hope?
Let's go 8. I'll go high up as an 8 out of 10 for New Hope.
I would give it a 6.1.
Okay.
So, do you want to go to Rogue One now?
Do we want to? Is that why are we going chronologically?
Oh wait, technically Rogue One would go. Let's keep the standalone films for after, because I guess there's only really Rogue One, and I haven't seen Solo. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Best Star Wars film?
Yes. I don't think there's much else that can be said.
So good.
I really can't think of anything I didn't like about the movie. Given I haven't seen it in a couple of years, so I can't really remember every detail, but I don't think there's a whole lot I very much I'm sure if there are things I disliked, I could think of them, but I really can't.
Luke's weird face at the beginning.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I was just being picky. I love that movie.
There's nothing really else bad I can say. What would you give it out of 10?
9.5.
Whoa!
I love that movie.
I would give it a 9.2. I don't know. I'm making a big deal about even it. I'm like
3 points.
Yeah, 0.3 less. Return of the Jedi was once my favorite Star Wars movie of all time.
I think it was for me too.
But then I started thinking about it, and I realized the Ewoks.
Garbage.
Yes, and they take up about a third of the movie.
Too much of the Ewoks. You can have silly things, and then you can have things that affect the plot. You can't have both.
And like, there's a really good video called like "Why Return of the Jedi Sucks," something like that. Which I wish I could remember the points that the person made, but I really don't. But if you get the chance, check it out. It's a good movie or video. But I think the story behind Return of the Jedi, just the story arc between Luke, Vader, and Darth Sidious is really good. But
I think all those parts are those are probably one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my favorite Star Wars parts.
But like outside of that, there's not much else I like about the movie. I like Luke's outfit. The black on black.
Yep, that is pretty cool.
The green lightsaber. One of my probably my favorite lightsaber in all of Star Wars. Besides Obi-Wan's from Episode 1. Which is basically Luke's, but with a blue blade, not a red. Or green. It's the same hilt, just different color.
I didn't know that.
Now you do.
Nice.
Do you have anything to say about Return of the Jedi?
I like the part at the end when Luke's fighting Vader and he's like hitting him with a lightsaber.
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
Hitting him with it.
I thought that's goofy when he's like just wailing on him.
I like that.
I mean, it's good because we kind of see Luke, not his first, but temptations to go to the dark side.
Yeah, the anger.
Yeah. What did he say? Like, let it fuel you. Darth Sidious, that is.
Yeah.
Saying about, yeah. So what would you give?
7.8.
You know, I'm going to agree with you. 7.8 out of 10. And then 30 years later, something like that. Wait, well, no, 30, less than that, we got the prequels. 10 years after the prequels, we got Disney acquired Lucasfilms, and then we got The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
My opinion on that movie has changed a lot.
Oh.
I'll let you go first.
I, for one, love this film. This film means a lot to me. Empire Strikes Back is a better movie, but I think this movie means a lot more to me.
Oh, I got scared for a second.
Okay. Because this is the first Star Wars movie I've ever seen in a theater.
Really? You didn't see episode 3 in the movies?
Nope.
I saw episode 3 in the theaters.
I never has a Star Wars movie elicited an emotional response from me where I was shaking in the theater. I was like, I wanted, when Han Solo...
I'm sorry that I'm laughing.
When Han Solo dies, I was like gonna cry. And that whole fight right after, I was like shaking. I was like, you're gonna pay for this. You're gonna pay for this, Kylo.
Yes, I will say, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
That part's so good.
But when Rey is like sticking her hand, or when when Kylo's trying to get the lightsaber, and then it flies, but it goes into like Rey's hand, and it does like the da 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 da.
Yeah,
I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
Like, you know it's gonna happen, but every time you see it, it's like, oh my god.
But it's like, it's just, I would say that's probably one of my favorite cinematic scenes from any movie of all time. Like them fighting in the snow.
Yeah, that whole fight is just really cool.
But like she just catches it, and like even she is like shocked. Yeah, she's like, oh my god. And that's the moment when I was, because you remember before The Last Jedi came out, people were like, who was Rey related to? But I remember...
Sorry, I thought of something.
But I remember like watching that scene now. Is it something related?
No. Just go for it.
Okay. But I remember like watching that scene now, of her catching the saber really says like, she didn't know who she was or like what she is, and like she catches it, and it's kind of just like we see her like look at it, and like Daisy Ridley, one of my favorite actors, like she's probably my celebrity crush. But like I don't know what that has to do with anything, but like seeing like just her acting, like her like looking at the lightsaber and then looking like she like even she is surprised because like it was the first time that we saw her use the Force, I think. Well, besides the Force visions.
And a little bit of backwards mind control thing.
You know what? Yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that.
But like cool, like Force, like.
Mm-hmm. But I would say that's the only scene from that movie I really enjoyed. But that scene, however, really does it for me. But okay, so the thing with The Force Awakens is it was a revamp.
Yep, it was New Hope too.
Exactly, and
I'm fine with that. I think.
I feel like it was just a way to get old kind of viewers or people who are familiar with Star Wars back into it, along with new people who don't necessarily know a lot about it back or into Star Wars in the first place. And I didn't even really know a lot about The Force Awakens. I saw it maybe 2 years later on Redbox in my home. Thankfully, I had somehow managed to avoid spoilers. But I remember watching it, and I really enjoyed it. But after The Last Jedi, and now that I've had time to really think about it, I would say it's a decent film. It wasn't great, it wasn't horrible, but it was decent. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I think I'd go higher. I'd go like 8.6 or something. I love that movie. Okay. I get that it's a revamp and it's kind of the same thing, but I don't care.
The Last Jedi.
Do we want to do Rogue One first? Or do we want to save that because it's like not part of the main saga?
Yeah, let's save it.
Okay. So Last Jedi.
I love Last Jedi.
I hate Last Jedi.
People are so nitpicky with Star Wars now, which is understandable because it's literally probably the largest movie franchise of all time. I think it might be. I'm curious to know that now.
I think so.
I'm gonna look it up while I talk. Okay. But just everything, even the Canto Bight, I don't mind a whole lot.
Ugh.
I like visually. Okay, story wise, I don't like it. Visually, I do like it. Like I don't like the whole thing with Rose and Finn.
It's a really polished turd.
Like visually, I really liked it. And it was very reminiscent of, and this is why people don't like it for this reason. Is it's very reminiscent of like a late '90s animated Disney movie, like all the little critters and just the color scheme and just the moving of the camera. But I really liked it, and just Snoke's throne room, that shot. Whoever was the set designer and whoever was the costume designer did a phenomenal job. Just the way the colors blended on Snoke's throne, like in that scene, was so amazing. The fight scene was amazing. At the end when Rey and Kylo were trying to pull the lightsaber was amazing. Even the scene when Holdo, the girl, the purple hair girl, I think it's Holdo,
yep, flew
the starship into the Supreme Star Destroyer was amazing. Just like how like it just like flashed and then just the whole movie theater just got silent. It was just like boom. And then it was just crazy. And I mean the Princess Leia scene.
Oh.
Did we really need that? Did we really need Princess Leia flying through space?
Here's my problem.
I laughed.
If this was a movie I didn't care about, I probably would have laughed. But since it's Star Wars, okay, here's my problem with it. That starts as a very emotional scene, right? Kylo Ren about to kill his mom, right? Sever every single ties he has to the light side, right? And he hesitates. He doesn't do it because he knows that if he does that, there's no going back for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like all of that, it means nothing because the ships come in and they just take her out, right? And you could see look at his face like he's affected by it. That's an amazing moment in that film.
Yeah.
That's like one of like
I want to give like massive props to Adam Driver, who did such an excellent job at portraying Kylo Ren. I feel like everybody in that movie did a pretty good job at portraying their character. And
He gets a lot of hate.
here's an unpopular opinion. Cam already knows what I'm going to say. Rose wasn't that good of a character in The Last Jedi. However, in Episode 9, I feel like she's going to have a much greater role. And she's going to really redeem herself. Mark my words.
She doesn't serve a purpose in this film. They kind of introduced a character that could have just not been there.
That's true. But you could use that for a lot of characters who I can't really think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some of those that exist in Star Wars. K2SO, who is the only redeeming... Never mind, I don't want to talk about Rogue One just yet. So I looked up the most popular movie franchise. Do you want to guess what number 1 is, if you didn't see it already?
It's Star Wars.
Marvel Cinematic
I
Universe.
figured.
Number 2 is Star Wars. And then Harry Potter, James Bond, Lord of the Rings, Fast and the Furious, X-Men, Spider-Man, and the list goes on. But, so, Rogue One. What do you have to say about Rogue One?
I don't really like it. I don't really care about it, to be honest. It's there. I didn't really like it. Just not much memorable. Except for like the last 5 minutes, which are pretty cool.
Yes.
That's like one of the best scenes in Star Wars.
Yes.
I want a whole movie about that. It's Darth Vader killing people.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like when Jyn Erso was like trying to like actually like get to the tower. That was really intense.
I mean, the whole third act of like when like all that's kicking off is pretty cool. Like I like all that stuff.
Or the scene when I'm forgetting the guy's name, and I know it's not that difficult to remember, but when he was like, "I'm one with the Force is with me."
Oh, the blind guy.
Yeah, that was pretty emotional. I got really emotional during that. Did I see Rogue One in theaters? No, I saw it on Netflix. I saw Last Jedi in theaters, I think twice. Twice. But that scene was really emotional.
I think it was really cool that they made the Force a thing in a movie where no one like was a Force user.
Yeah, I feel like as just a standalone film outside of Star Wars, I feel like it's a pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
It would do pretty successfully. It probably would, if they released another one under the Rogue One kind of series, it probably wouldn't do that well. But just a standalone Rogue One.
Rogue 2.
Not Star Wars related. It was a pretty decent film. But as a Star Wars film, cinematically it was a good movie. Story-wise, it was not. This was Jyn Erso. Oh no, the Death Star. That was literally.
She sucks.
I don't remember any of her dialogue. Her dialogue, yes. All due respect, but the actress who played Jyn Erso did a pretty horrible job.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my history teacher, and he asked me. He said, "Name one character besides Darth Vader, Jyn Erso, or K2SO from Rogue One. Name one character."
Princess Leia is in it for like 30 seconds.
One original character who was brought to in that film.
I got nothing.
Exactly. I would give Rogue One a 6.2, which I think is higher than. Can I change my New Hope rating? I'm gonna give A New Hope a 7 out of 10, and I'm gonna give Rogue One a 7 or nope, 6.5.
I was gonna go Rogue One 6.5. It's just I have no like intent on ever rewatching it. Like I'll rewatch The Last Jedi again because there's some cool stuff in that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm really not interested in Rogue One as a film.
What about Solo? No, I haven't seen Solo, so I can't give a review. But what would you have to say about Solo?
I think it's worth watching. I think it's a fun time. It's a fun movie. It doesn't really justify its own existence. Like,
it was a movie that nobody asked for, but
yeah, I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Last Jedi.
Oh my god! Please leave your own house, Cam. I can't believe you just said
Last
that.
Jedi, I walked out confused because there were great moments and then things that just hurt.
When I walked out of Last Jedi, I hated it. I hated it with a passion. I thought it was the worst Star Wars movie ever. I hated it. Everything about it. I couldn't think of something I liked about it. But then I watched it again. Still kind of didn't like it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. And now, a couple months later, I'm like, you know what? I like The Last Jedi.
I was in denial. I liked it. I kept trying to defend it to one of our other friends, saying like, no.
Oh yeah, we The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's great. You're wrong. Best Star Wars movie. I was in denial until I really thought about it, and I was like, you know what? No. No Last Jedi.
So what would you give Solo as a rating?
7.3.
Okay.
It's a fun movie. It's worth watching. I don't know if you should like go out of your way to see it though.
Okay. Do you have anything else? Do you want to make any predictions for Episode 9? Do you have any hopes or wishes?
You think Kylo and Rey are gonna get together?
No, they're not. Everybody
Really?
keeps saying that just because you have a female main character and a male other lead character, they're not gonna get. They're not. If you mean date or marry or whatever, they're not going to. This is the last film that we're gonna have with these characters. They're not gonna open up another story arc, another story arc. Even if they get together, whether it's dating or whatever, in the first third of the film, that is not enough time to completely smooth everything out. I feel like this last movie is gonna set up the next trilogy.
It's a lot of Star Wars movies.
Yeah, or
Some would say too much. You think it's too much?
not now, but in a couple of years it might be.
Because after Solo, because it's been a Star Wars every single year since 2015 now.
Oh wow, yeah, you're right.
So
Well, it's only 3 years, but well, now 4.
Solo performed not good at the box office. So I think there's like all the reports saying that like Disney's like putting on hold like a lot of those films like the
Obi-Wan supposed standalone.
Boba Fett, stuff like that. I think that's a good thing.
Is Episode 9 coming out this year or next year?
Next year, I hope.
Okay.
That'd be crazy.
I feel like if it were to come out this year, we would already have a trailer, or at least what it was called.
Oh yeah, we don't know what it's called.
Nope. So you said something that I agree with. I think within the first 10 minutes, Leia's gonna die, or 20 minutes. 10 minutes is not enough.
How are they gonna even film her scenes?
Well, part of it is filmed, or maybe they can just. I don't like how Star Wars is using CGI for characters.
Yeah, it's.
I don't want that to
weird.
become a routine thing for every movie. Please, anybody working for Star Wars that is listening to this, which is probably nobody.
Everyone.
Everybody at Star Wars just listening to it. Stop with the CGI.
It doesn't even look good.
It doesn't look good.
Marvel movies do it and it looks good.
I feel like it looks wonky in pretty much every circumstance in which it's used. But
Okay.
Star Wars,
Especially
stop.
when like the person's passed away, it seems a little.
I don't find that to be that big of an issue. It's just
think
I
that's a
don't like
little
any
weird.
CGI. But I do think Leia's gonna die within the first 20 minutes or so, which I believe you said.
They just kill her in the opening crawl.
It's like they're doing like the dance,
It's like
it's like the music is going. It's like it just cuts and someone just shoots her and then it goes back. Sorry about that. Anyways, in a galaxy.
from a really wide angle and from behind, so they get someone else to play her.
Do you know that the original intro scroll was done manually? Like they filmed it with the camera. Didn't know that.
That's cool.
And like I like that about. I feel like they're still doing even with the Last Jedi was a lot of practical effects, which was amazing. Like I feel like they need to keep doing that. No CGI, no green screen. Keep it as the cool kids say, 100 as they possibly can.
Sure.
Or in
I only want Hana in my Star Wars movies.
in A New Hope, when it shows the Millennium Falcon docking in the Death Star, that was painted. Like the part of the Death Star, like that was all painted by an artist.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, do you have any other Star Wars? Anything else you wanna?
I hope they slow down. Focus on quality.
I agree.
I don't want a Star Wars movie every year. It doesn't. Star Wars movies don't work the same way a Marvel movie does. I can take 3 Marvel movies a year. Which it works, right? You have the main big one, and you have like the smaller stories that are all like separate. You can't do that with a Star Wars.
How in the world did they get an Ant-Man and Wasp movie? Nobody asked for that.
But I heard it's pretty good.
So did I. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize it too much. Plus, I mean, Ant-Man is an Avenger.
I like the first Ant-Man. It's a funny movie.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I love Marvel, but I've not seen a majority, actually any of the Marvel movies that have come out. I don't think I've seen a single one, even Spider-Man or anything like that. Sorry to disappoint.
Let's watch them all right now. I don't have all of them.
Ragnarok is on Netflix now?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I think they're putting a lot more on there.
You should watch it. It's good. Skip the first 2 Thors.
The first 2 what?
Skip the first 2 Thors. Go right to Ragnarok. Thor's trash, dude.
You don't like Thor? The movies or the character?
He sucks as a character until Ragnarok.
In the MCU you're talking about?
In the MCU he sucks. Thor 1 is boring and gets kind of cool. We're just talking about Thor now. Thor 2 sucks. Thor 2 is the worst Marvel movie. Like, it's just nothing about it is redeemable.
Is there like a villain in that one?
Yeah, Malekith, and he's very not memorable.
I'm gonna look up Malekith.
Literally the worst Marvel villain. Now, Thor 3, different director, different tone. They made Thor an actual cool character. He gets like a sweet haircut. And they get rid of his stupid hammer.
Yes, cool. I like him with the shorter... Is this Malekith?
Yep.
Jeez.
You know what his motivation is?
What is it?
I don't know. Nothing.
That really speaks volume.
Yeah, it's just... There's like portals or something.
Is this like The Hobbit?
Yeah.
You know in Harry Potter in the first one, when he's getting his ticket, I think it's something Davis Warwick or something like that, who's like a famous like small person actor. But he gives him his ticket and he's like, "Oh, I'm Harry Potter." He kind of looks like him, if you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis, that's his name. But yeah, he looks extremely... In the comics, he looks pretty cool. Kind of. He has like blonde hair.
That's weird.
Kind of does look like the... One thing I don't understand with superhero movies, well, I kind of understand it, but they change the appearances of heroes and villains.
Because sometimes things that work on a comic book don't work on TV or movie.
But like Thor, I mean, also money, because you can make a new... Because there's probably a bazillion Thor action figures, so if they make him look different, people are going to feel more inclined to buy it because it looks different. But I never understood it. I mean, I guess I'm starting to understand it a bit more now, because I feel like they're actually... Because when they did it at first, I'm like with, Spider-Man or whatever, when James Franco played the Green Goblin in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he looked like a snowboarder. Like, why did we have to do that? Like, I feel like now that Marvel knows what they're doing a much better job with it when it comes to designing characters. Also, where's Hawkeye? Very random to mention, but is Hawkeye even alive still?
Yeah. He's with his family or something.
What? He should stay there. Even though I haven't seen any of the Marvel movies, I don't like Hawkeye.
I think he's got a big role in the next Avengers movie.
What does he do? Shoot an arrow?
Probably.
He's stupid. If Hawkeye is your favorite hero, you should probably reassess your life. Even though I haven't seen any of them, and I don't know what Hawkeye even does. And
he shoots arrows.
What standalone Marvel movie would you like to see?
That's a good question. I don't know if I'd want it as a movie or as a show. I want Moon Knight.
Moon Knight?
Moon Knight's cool.
Moon Knight is pretty cool. He looks pretty kicking butt.
I want to see Miles Morales, Spider-Man in the MCU.
What's is it Into the Spider-Verse, that animated one?
Yeah.
I heard that Nicolas Cage is voicing the Spider-Man noir.
Yep.
I don't know if this is true, but holy cow, if it is, that will be amazing.
See what you did there.
But
amazing Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
But do you want to call an episode right there? Well, this has been a pretty good episode, I would say. I mean, I'm speaking for ourselves, but
we say it's good.
I think it's good. You think it's good?
Yeah.
Again, if you want to send us any comments, feedback, any general anything at all, feel free to email us, which is Cam.
CVradio.info at gmail.com.
Once again, CVradio.info at gmail.com. We'll have a link down in the description, or not a link, but where you can find it exactly. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, which is CV Radio Podcast for both of those. Again, there'll be links down in the description. And we're actually working on our website. Should be up by next episode, but we're pretty much done with it.
Yeah. We got some big stuff coming.
Just about done with it. We have a trip coming up with,
Ooh,
I think, in 3 weeks
maybe.
or so. Do we want to talk about that at all?
I feel like you kind of gave some of it away.
We'll hold on to it, and we have a whole kind of video series. There might be a face reveal.
Ooh.
We don't know, though. You're going to have to wait and see. So
Maybe.
if you're a fan of CV Radio, or if you're anticipating that, then, continue watching these episodes to get a little bit more snippet or a couple more info.
Yeah.
Or more info. I can't speak. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Cam, is there anything else you'd like to say?
The Last Jedi is a bad film. That's it.
You had to get the last word, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Anyways, thanks for watching. Enjoy. And have a great day.
Bye.